6:01.
We'll have to.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 29th, 2019 meeting of the Delhi Township Board of Trustees. As is our usual procedure, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Tonight's moment of silence is really prayers of help and resilience to our neighbors in the north so recently struck by the tornadoes. So we'll begin by the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Luby, can we begin with the approval of the minutes, please?
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting held on April 29th and May 8th, 2019, and dispense with the reading.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion carries.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay periods ending May 7th and 21st, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion carries. Report from our fiscal officer, Mr. Luby.
Resolution 2019-077, resolution approving purchase order obligations incurred on behalf of the township by the township administrator, authorizing payment of certain purchase order obligations and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
As far as significant transactions since the last meeting, on 5/23, we had a deposit for $926,000 from the Hamilton County Auditor for the 2019 homestead rollback. On 5/16, our payroll was $280,000. On 5/22, we cut a check to Mercantile Title Agency for earnest money for the purchase of 5025 Delhi Pike. On 5/29, we cut a check for $154,000 to PNC Bank, and that was for our Greenwell Fire Station bond payment. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Luby. Trustees' correspondence, Trustee Davis?
I will yield at this time to both of you because I know you have several items, so.
Trustee Sturts?
Thank you. Delhi Middle School had a walkathon recently, and God bless our DCPA for being out there early with them, manning all the corners of all the busy streets, making sure our students stayed safe. So thank you for doing that. You do so many wonderful things for Delhi. Also, Station 36, thank you so much for being so kind to two of our residents recently. You had a run to their house, and you realized they were kind of in dire straits, and took money out of your own pocket and went and bought the couple some dinner while you were attending to their needs. I mean, that just shows great humanitarian spirit, so thank you for that. Also, Tyler Steinley, one of our police officers, 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, a very tired mother with a little girl about 2 years old could not find her teddy bear. She had left it in the park that day. There was no way she was going to bed. Officer Steinley got out. Within 15 feet, they found the teddy bear, and everybody was happy. So again, thank you for going out of your way. And lastly, we have an Eagle Scout project going on that you might want to check out. It's our cemetery right out here. His Eagle Scout project was to repair all of the concrete so they could stand upright and give some dignity, and he had this done by Memorial Day. So thank you to Tyler Johnson from Troop 350. Good luck on your Eagle Scout. Thank you.
I would also like to give recognition and thanks to the Delhi Township Veterans Association for once again putting on a wonderful Memorial Day ceremony to the enjoyment of everyone in Delhi Township. We are extremely blessed to have such an active group of veterans to put on such a ceremony. So thank you, Delhi Township Veterans Association, not only for your service then, but for your service now. Okay. Tonight is a very special night in Delhi because we are swearing in 5 new Delhi Township firemen. And that's always a thrill for everyone that sits on this board, as well as it is for their comrades inside the fire department. So I'd like to call off Chief Campbell and have him introduce our new Delhi Township firemen. Persons, Katie.
Thank you. Firefighters. Thank you, trustees. So it's always a pleasure to come up here and, speak highly of the service, but as the fire chief, I couldn't ask for a better fire department to serve, and every time I get this opportunity to add more youth vigor and some new faces to our organization, it's a treat, because, day in and day out, what we search for is the best people for our community, and these 5 people represent that level of service and dedication I think you're going to see for the next 25, 30 years. So without further ado, I'll ask Zach to come forward. So Zach Roselle was born and raised in Delhi Township. He's a 2011 graduate of Oak Hills High School. He's completed his fire and EMT certifications with Cincinnati State Technical Community College. He served Delhi Township for nearly 2.5 years as a part-time firefighter before being promoted to full-time this past March. He's completing his paramedic training with Cincinnati Fire Division right now, and he anticipates completion of the program soon and should receive his paramedic certification before July. I'm going to hold him to it. 2019 will always carry a special significance for Zach and his family. He's achieved full-time employment. Hopefully I don't jinx it, but his pending paramedic certification, and most importantly, I hope I don't jinx it, he's also going to start a new chapter in his life. In November, he's set to be married. So I'd like to call up his fiancée, Ashley, who he has chosen to pin him this evening.
He told me to do that.
Wedding photo. Okay. Austin Piney. Austin Piney was also born and raised in Delhi Township. He's also currently a resident here. He's a 2013 graduate of Oak Hills High School and completed his firefighter and EMT certifications through Great Oaks Fire and Emergency Medical Rescue Academy. Austin served with Delhi Township Fire Department for just a little over 6 months as a part-time firefighter. He did previously serve with 2 other departments before being promoted to full-time in March. He's completed his paramedic training within the Cincinnati Fire Division now. He anticipates the completion of the program soon. He should, too, receive his paramedic certification before July. I'm going to hold you to it. You could say Austin was destined to do this job because he's joined here tonight by both his grandfather, Al, retired Cincinnati Fire Lieutenant, and his father, Dave, who also currently serves as a lieutenant for the City of Florence Fire Department. And I'd be remiss, Dave did serve with us from 2001 to 2003. So he's a former Delhi firefighter, part-time before going full-time with Florence. So I'd like to call up Dave tonight. He has been chosen to pin Austin this evening. Katie? Next up is firefighter Katie LaCosta. She's a 2016 graduate of Loveland High School. She completed her firefighter and EMT certifications with Cincinnati State through Colerain Township's Fire Department Recruit Program. Katie served with Colerain Township Fire Department for about a year and a half as a part-time firefighter EMT before being hired by Delhi full-time in March. Katie also has a long history working as a certified lifeguard as well. She's completed her paramedic training just a couple of weeks ago, so she is official. Katie is joined here tonight by her family, who she lovingly refers to as her roommates. Katie's exposure to the fire service is most likely attributed to her father's role as medical director for Cincinnati Fire Department. I'd like to introduce and call up Dr. LaCosta, her father, who she has chosen to pin her this evening. Corey? Firefighter Corey Brown is a 2008 graduate of Fairfield High School. He's completed his firefighter and EMT certifications through the Great Oaks Fire and Emergency Medical Rescue Academy. Corey served most recently with Westchester Fire Department and Deer Park Silverton Fire District for about 2.5 years before as a part-time firefighter EMT before being hired by Delhi in March. He's completing his paramedic training with the Cincinnati Fire Division currently and anticipates completion of the program soon and should receive his paramedic certification before July. You too, I will hold accountable. Corey's joined here tonight by his family, his twins Jordan and Jackson, and I'd like to introduce his girlfriend Arshanda, who will be pinning him this evening. And finally tonight, Eric. Firefighter Eric Weiss, he's a 2014 graduate of Fairfield High School. He completed his firefighter and EMT certifications through Butler Technology and Career Development School. He has a Bachelor of Fire Administration from Eastern Kentucky University. He previously served with Hanover, Morgan, Liberty, and Fairfield Township Fire Departments for about 2.5 years as a part-time firefighter EMT before being hired by Delhi in March. He's completed his paramedic training just a couple weeks ago, so he just as well as Katie are both certified paramedics. Eric also has the distinction of earning his Eagle Scout rank. Eric is joined here tonight by his family, his newborn son Jackson, and his wife Monica. I'd like to call Monica, who he has chosen to pin him this evening. Okay, before we make this official, ask Trustee CV to please come up. She'll be reciting the oath.
You're going to want to be able to read it. It's on the wall.
So just remember the words you speak tonight. It's official. It's in the books after it's all said and done. All right? Okay.
Okay, I'm going to say I, and then you're going to put in there your own name. Just to make sure we get that part right. I. All right. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
required as a firefighter/paramedic
required as a firefighter/paramedic
of the Delhi Township Fire Department.
of the Delhi Township Fire Department.
I recognize the badge of my office
I recognize the badge of my office
as a symbol of public faith and trust,
as a symbol of public faith and trust,
and I accept so long as I am true to the ethics of the fire service.
and I accept so long as I am true to the ethics of the fire service.
Congratulations on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Delhi Township. All right, now, before we dismiss all of you to your own celebration, Trustee Davis, do you have some words?
Oh, I have some words, yes.
Always.
First of all, for all of you gathered here and those that are watching at home and will see this and the media that runs with it, you know, everyone does a job and everyone does what they need to do, what they felt called to in life. And just seeing all of you here tonight, first of all, a big thank you. Thank you for choosing Delhi. We hope you fall in love with this community as many of us have through the years. Thank you for saying yes and being, you won't get to say it, but we say it. You get to be heroes, and that's what you are. Those that are running into situations and buildings that other people are running out of in order to be of service to others, that's an incredible feat that you're called to. So thank you for hearing the call and responding to it and saying yes, not just in general, but to us here in Delhi. We are very appreciative. And thank you for the families, the friends, the support, the love, everything that's been shown here tonight. And we hope it goes tenfold through the years to come. Chief, I hope you are absolutely accurate that it's another 10, 20 years with these, that they continue to serve us.
2030.
2030. Even better. So again, thank you.
Trustee Sturts.
Actually, I couldn't say it any better than Trustee Davis, and I don't want to keep him any longer. But again, thank you for choosing us. Thank you for putting your lives on the line for all of our residents. And we're so glad that you're here.
And I would also like to say to the family and to the friends that are here, thank you for sharing your son, your grandson, your niece, your nephew, your daughter, your granddaughter with Delhi Township. We love all of our firemen. We think the world of them, and we take care of them as well as they take care of us. So thank you for joining Delhi Township. And we will, as promised, pause and let you all leave.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great celebration.
I felt disoriented sitting over there.
All right, we'll return to regular session now. And we'll begin with report from the Police Department, Assistant Chief Braun. Mr. Luby, can we have the motion?
Motion to approve the hiring of Kathleen S. Giblin as a full-time police clerk in the police department at a pay rate of $21 per hour, effective May 30th, 2019, contingent upon successful completion of background investigation, background check, and voice stress analyzer.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to approve the hiring of Mary Beth Ribel as a part-time police clerk in the police department at a pay rate of $13 per hour, effective May 30th, 2019, contingent upon successful completion of background investigation, background check, and voice stress analyzer.
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve the hiring of Jenna Lynn Macon as a part-time police clerk in the police department at a pay rate of $13 per hour, effective May 30th, 2019, contingent upon successful completion of background investigation, background check, and voice stress analyzer.
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Did you have anything to add to that, Assistant Chief Braun?
I'd just like to say a few words about each of them, if that's okay.
Please.
Kathy Giblin comes to us she spent many years in our business, I guess you could say. She spent many years at the Hamilton County Communications Center. She spent a handful of years at Pinkerton, as well as Biloxi Police Department. She did the same similar stuff that our clerks currently do, so she'll be able to come in and hit the ground running. She's got probably about 16 years' experience she brings with her, so she'll be a good addition, not only to represent all of us well, but to serve the community. So we look forward to her joining us. As far as Mary Beth Rabel, she's a long-time volunteer at C.O. Harrison in their PTA. So she does a lot of things with the community and the school. She also works part-time at Tri-Health, answering phones as far as registration, et cetera. So she'll be a good part-time addition to our staff. And Jenna Macon, for all of us, we recognize that last name.
I wondered.
Probably. She's a long lost relative of Howard Macon. I believe it's like a grandfather's cousin. She has an uncle that's an assistant chief at Indian Hill Police Department. So she's currently an NKU student, working on her bachelor's degree. She's going to be a junior, and she's looking forward to learning what the field's all about and hopefully finding her direction on what she wants to do in life. So
Great.
if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
What is she majoring in? Just inquisitive.
Criminal justice and
Okay, so in the
forensics.
field. In the field. Okay.
Correct.
Does this round out the hirings then in the police for the clerks and everything?
We may, depending on how it all shakes out, we may add another part-timer or two to our staff.
Okay. Well, welcome to Kathleen, Mary Beth, and Jenna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. All
Wait
right.
1 second, if you would. Sorry. This process, for those that weren't in tune with it, it's actually pretty impressive, because when you first put out the notice looking for clerks in the police division, it wasn't like, okay, we had 8 or 9 come in. You had over, as I understand, over 100
Correct.
that applied to come work in the township and work with the police division, and that's incredible. And as Jack knows here, you know, I listened very closely to the process. I was just so impressed with the process, the procedures, the interviews, 3 different rounds, I believe it was, and to come up with and sort it through and get to where you got is just absolutely incredible. So I bet they're excited. We're excited for them, and just look for great things.
You know, it's amazing. I mean, for us, I mean, sometimes people have a hard time finding one qualified person. I mean, if we could have hired 5 or 6 people, we would have. You know, it's just such an honor that people, you know, apply and are willing to work for us as a township is great. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then. Public Works, Ron Ripperger.
Resolution 2019-078, a resolution authorizing the application for a grant from the Hamilton County Engineers Office for 20% license tax funds to assist in the cost of the 2019 street rehabilitation and repair project expenses, authorizing the Director of Public Works to execute any required documents in connection with the grant application, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Ron?
Thank you, trustees. This is a grant that we submit for every year. The money goes straight toward our road project. It's a little over $18,000. Actually, our road project just started yesterday, so it'll be underway for the next few months. We're excited about that.
These 4 streets you started on yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll go on throughout the summer, though. It'll take a little while.
Yeah.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes. That's all I have for Ron.
Excuse me, President, yeah, I do have a question. It seems like there's a lot of questions about the closure on Anderson Ferry right now. Can you just go into a little bit more detail? Because people are a little upset about detours through their neighborhoods and such.
I don't know a whole lot of details about it. I think it's for a repair for
BP line.
petroleum pipeline. I think it runs underneath the river and through Kentucky. I don't think it's set up to last very long, the closure. And there is a lot of alternate ways to go as long as you plan ahead a little bit. But we've taken a few calls on that also.
Okay.
This is, it's so people understand when you say you don't have many details about it, it's because it's a county project. This is not a Delhi Township project on Anderson Ferry. So remember that, those that are watching. This is Hamilton County. I wish we had those 7 digits right in front of us. We could tell you who to call when you have
Well,
issues. But it would be good as far as the police division also to kind of go through there, obviously, and keep an eye on things. So
I always get concerned when they say 2 weeks. I mean, that's in case Mother Nature doesn't step in the way of getting this done, so.
Yes. They normally get done early, but I think they had to quit a little early today just because of the weather.
Okay, and Assistant Chief Braun, are you giving us traffic directions back there?
Sure. My understanding is we went out today. Lieutenant Murphy and I went out there today and just kind of looked around. We've got our speed signs in the neighborhood to hopefully slow some people down already.
Okay.
But my understanding is from the emails and from, taking a drive around, that I think they're shooting them down Bender Road, which is obviously out of the way. I mean,
Right, River Road to Bender and
Correct.
back up into Delhi.
correct.
But those are township road, those are.
County roads.
County
County
roads.
roads, so they're not slamming at us. They're saying, hey, take these roads,
Yeah.
right?
My skeptic is, I think they're trying to keep them out of the neighborhoods is
Yeah.
what they're trying to do with the signs, people that aren't familiar with it. But
Right.
we're hoping, people love the speed signs in the neighborhood, so we plop them up, and hopefully that gets their attention that people are driving a little too fast because they're used to the county
Perfect.
roads, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
And police, or Fire Chief Campbell, they're worried about getting emergency equipment through there. I'm sure you've anticipated alternate routes.
Yeah, we have routes from both directions. We just have to split crews from our stations, but we've totally taken all the precautions. We're fine.
Okay. And the same thing will happen when we start paving Anderson Ferry, or they start paving Anderson Ferry from,
And that's a much longer
yes,
project.
sorry, don't mean for you to be changing chairs, but these are what we're hearing, so.
As far as I know, there won't be any closures for that. They usually do one lane at a time. It's just they're milling and then refilling it, so that should go pretty quick. I don't have a date on that yet. I think it goes out to bid within the next week, or if it hasn't already.
So should not be closing, that's good, okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
There'll be some delays though.
Yeah.
So they're going to do the swing to the right, swing to the left, go around all the way.
As far as I know, yes, but we don't have all the details yet until it goes out to bid. I know I've called on it last week to find out when the date was, and they're not ready yet.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Thank you, all of you.
That was a group effort.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think we're on fire department, is that correct? All right, Chief Campbell, can we have the motion, please? Mr. Luby.
Motion to approve a request from William Eckhoff, St. Dominic Cub Scout Pack 483, Committee Chairman, to waive the open burn permit for the annual flag retirement ceremony on June 16, 2019, on St. Dominic Church property at 4551 Delhi Avenue, due to community service nature of the request.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Seth K. Donovan, effective May 22nd, 2019.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor? Yes. Motion passes.
Motion to accept voluntary resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Jacob C. Schultz, effective June 1st, 2019.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Chief Campbell, did you have anything else?
I just want to elaborate on the departures of those 2 full-time firefighters. They did receive full-time job offers, City of Norwood and City of Erlanger. So hated to see them go, both fine individuals. We'd love to see them back in the organization someday when things settle down on their side of things, but really they had mixed feelings about leaving. But for a better cause.
I have here that they were part-time.
Oh, I'm sorry, St. Bernard, not Norwood.
Okay.
They were part-time with Delhi, and
Yes.
they've got full-time positions?
Correct.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you. Parks and Recreation, Josh Torbeck, Director Josh Torbeck. Mr. Luby?
Approve the hiring of Tyler J. Thielen as a seasonal Parks and Recreational worker in the Parks and Recreation Department at a pay rate of $9 per hour, effective June 3rd, 2019, contingent on completion of successful drug test and background check.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Could I have just 1 minute of your time, trustees?
Yes, Director Torbeck.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk about a couple of our events and programs coming up. This past weekend, we had our first farmers market. Went over really well. We had a good crowd. This Saturday, we'll be back at it again from 9 to noon. Final Friday, which is the first of a 3-part series, Art in the Park, is up at Floral Paradise Gardens. We only have a couple spots left for that. You have to register for that, so call the office at 451-3300, but we literally only have like a couple spots left, so that should be a good event. And then June 15th is our upcoming concert to open up the new stage, which is being built at Delhi Park, so we're excited about that. That'll be an all-day event from 2 to 11. We'll have local breweries out, food truck, firefighters will be cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. It should be a good day.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Administration, then, may I have the resolution, Mr. Luby?
Resolution 2019-060, resolution declaring certain property no longer needed for public use, obsolete and unfit for the use acquired, authorizing sale by internet auction, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Anything, Mr. Cameron?
The auction resolution you have is for the ambulance that's being taken offline. We got a new ambulance in, and is it operating? Is it in service? June 1st, so this is to auction the one that is going offline. The next resolution is to dispose of protective equipment within the fire department, things that we don't recirculate for warranty and so that someone doesn't try and use it past its effective date. So the next one is for disposal of personal protective equipment of the fire department.
Okay, thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-061, resolution declaring certain items of personal property unfit for the use acquired, that the items have no value, authorizing disposal thereof, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Community development then, and I believe tonight Administrator Cameron is sitting in for Greg DeLong, correct?
Correct.
All right. Resolution, Mr. Luby?
Resolution 2019-062, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 3924 Delhi Pike to the county auditor for assessment and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
This is collecting on the abatement expenses that we've already incurred, so you can see the before and after pictures for the property.
Move to dispense the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-063, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 3940 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I can tell you I won't do as well of a job as Mr. DeLong would do, so I apologize, Greg. This and the next 13 nuisance resolutions were checked this morning along with 7 other ones. These 14 are still in these conditions, so we would ask that you approve these resolutions so they can be abated. And I will add that 7 of them are not on your list because we have, the community development folks, Greg, Tony, were effective at getting them to be abated without our assistance. So I'm appreciative of that, and I think Jim is too, because he has 7 less that he's going to have to read through.
Absolutely.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-064, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4011 Delhi Pike, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-065, resolution declaring a nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4287 Del Ryan Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-066, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4498 St. Dominic Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of the resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-067, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 4954 Alverno Valley Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-068, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5040 Foley Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis. Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-069, resolution declaring a nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5342 Carefree Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-070, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 467 Rosemont Avenue, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-071, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 519 Mantola Avenue, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-072, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris, 4274 Bloin Court, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-073, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4497 Clover Hill Terrace, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-074, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 4872 Mount Vernon Road, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-075, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 5374 Cleander Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Yeah, I think we've seen this address before.
Yeah. Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2019-076, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 4109 Honeycutt Lane, declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Seavey.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes the nuisance resolutions, but as I was sitting here, I was doing just a kind of an average calculation of what this means to Delhi Township. This is about $10,000 that we are putting out on liens against property for just nuisance, just vegetation, excessive vegetation. Now, eventually, that goes on your property as a lien, and eventually, this township gets the money returned. But in the meantime, we're out cutting this grass and cleaning up this debris. So everyone, please, it's spring. I get it. The grass is growing. The debris is, is piling up. You've done spring cleaning. There's proper ways to dispose of this. Could we just try to be a little more diligent about how we take care of our property? This 15, 17 of these in one time borders on ridiculous. Okay, that was my speech on nuisance. So it's just, it drives me crazy. I do not have any public comments. Is there anyone? Okay. Announcement of community events then, Mr. Luby?
The Delhi Farmers Market are Saturdays, May 25th through August 31st. They will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Clearview Lake at 5125 Foley Road. The final Friday at Floral Paradise Gardens, Art in the Park, is Friday, May 31st. It will be at 7 p.m. at Floral Paradise Gardens at 461 Greenwell Road. The Community Blood Drive will be Monday, June 3rd, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. It will be at the Delhi Senior Community Center at 665 Neeb Road. The Delhi Historical Society Program, Rookwood Pottery, will be Monday, June the 10th at 7 p.m. It will be at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. The Delhi Township Veterans Association meeting will be Tuesday, June 11th, from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Delhi Senior Community Center at 647 Neeb Road. The Bailey Dementia Family Workshop will be Wednesday, June 12th, from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It will be at the Bailey Main Building Enrichment Center at 990 Bailey Drive. The Foley Road Music Festival will be Saturday, June 15th at 2 p.m. It will be at Delhi Park at 5125 Foley Road.
Thank you, Mr. Luby. We do not have reason for executive session this evening, so if I could call to adjourn the meeting. Trustee Davis?
So moved to adjourn.
Hold on, we have something?
I was going to offer, would you like me to summarize the property purchase contract?
That'd be great.
Sure,
For
but
those who watch the meeting or catch up with that, I don't know if that would be appreciated.
are you the public comment?
No, I'm the administrator comment.
Okay. Administrator Cameron?
Mr. Pining wasn't aware of the property purchase, and I thought, well, okay, maybe, unlike us, not everybody is aware of everything we do and put out in press releases. But to summarize, last week, we had the opportunity to approve, you had the opportunity to approve a purchase contract for the former Remke site. It's on Delhi Pike, and it had been something that had been worked on for a few months, and unfortunately, these things aren't trotting out in the open, because if it's the township trying to buy property, it just doesn't work very well. The prices stay inflated and nobody works with you. So last week, you held a special meeting to approve the purchase contract, or taking assignment of it from the trustee, the attorneys that were working on it for us. There's 14.09 acres. Again, this is a purchase contract, so it's got 60 days to have our due diligence done before there's actually the closing. So we don't own it yet. It still has to be vetted through the due diligence process, which would be environmental work, title searches, looking at the buildings, making sure the lease agreements are the way they were purported. So 2.875 million is the agreed purchase price. There's 14.009 acres. That includes the former Remke building, which currently has Verfit in it, and the Dunkin' Donuts site. Not the Dunkin' Donuts, sorry, Jeff. But the site that it's on, they're a current leasee there, and then Verfit is a current leasee, and Remke is still paying lease on that through till next year, in the middle of the year. So if the property closes, then we will be able to move forward with further defining what we expect there. So what do you plan to have go there? I think following the Plan the Pike ideas is where we're headed with this, and that would include potential entertainment ideas. That was thrown out, town center, hub of activity kind of ideas. There is a multifamily need that was identified in Plan the Pike, so that will be vetted. And obviously, we wouldn't do something we wouldn't want to see happen there. That's part of the reason the township was anxious to control the site. Retail, if there's first floor retail to a multi-story building of sorts, that's something we're going to see if it's viable. So once we close, we will put effort into some plans that are measured with the private sector, measured with potential partners, measured with what that public component could be. And then my thought and what we've talked about is going out to the residents with a few public input sessions with what we have seen as viable and doable. and see where people are at with these different plans that we think can take shape. So again, we won't close for 60 days, assuming everything falls into place and there are no problems. We would own the property in approximately 60 days and then begin some work on it. So the number one question that anybody's asked me is, what are the plans for there? And we have plenty of plans, but we want to be, we want to go about it without trying to rush, but there are plenty of options. I will note a couple things. In my 2 years, we've had interest in the property. We didn't own it, so we're in a regulatory stance of trying to encourage somebody to do something that Plan the Pike suggested to do. In that 2 years, we've had some multifamily possibilities come our way, and they needed, well, first of all, they didn't own the site and it wasn't for sale at that time, but they would look for our help in some fashion, and Greg and I would look at them and kind of go, that's not quite what we have in mind, so if you need help, it's not going to come from us. That had happened a couple times, and more recently we had a user visit from New York that was interested in doing a storage facility there, which, I mean, Bearcat does a great job. They take care of their property great. Storage is a necessary component of your whole environment, but to have that property become a storage facility was really not going to do us much good for what we aspire for that corridor to be. They didn't own the site either, so they were just fishing, and when they were told that it wasn't storage use able, they weren't happy, and we ended up getting a call suggesting somebody was going to challenge our zoning on that, which is a possibility. So there are some uses that have been out there, and so part of what we can do with a very viable site is control it. And the idea that I think everybody, you four, have in mind is, how is this going to enhance other things happening on the Pike? So we call it a catalytic site. The Plan the Pike called it a catalytic site, and I think your hope and my making this come to fruition is that we put the best product there that enhances everything else. So we don't expect to have it for too long, but I won't make any promises because, you know, it follows market forces. We do have cash flow coming in from it, so there are leases, so that's a positive thing. It's not just all out and no in, but we'll see where this takes us, and I'm pretty excited about the possibilities and the timing of how things have come together on it.
I think what we would like our residents to best understand is that we've never lost sight of the Plan the Pike vision, of what the input that we gained from the community meetings. And that's why when we're asked, what's the plan? Well, the plan, first off, was control. That was number one, because we wanted to be able to have control of the destiny of 14 acres on our main drive of Delhi Pike. And we wanted that catalytic property to fulfill what everyone in this township sees as their vision of what it could be and what it should be. So all this while, since you first heard Plan the Pike, we've been interviewing, we've been seeking, we've made field trips. A lot of this is, quite honestly, cannot be shared because there's a certain sense of confidentiality with some of these people when you deal with this, which was something we all had to learn and respect. So it's done. Delhi, you now have, in 60 days, control of the main catalytic property on your vision for Plan the Pike.
And we will be holding public meetings to make sure you accept, you still want what's in Plan the Pike, or where can we go from here? So it's not the four of us sitting up here going, this is what we're going to get, boom, 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 boom. You will have input. We will be advertising those and inviting everybody to attend. It's after we own it, though.
Yeah, I mean, not to go into it, but it is about being proactive. It's about, some of us have been here every day of our lives living in Delhi Township, and we've seen lots of businesses come and go, and you hear the mantras that get shouted out. We're tired of dollar stores. We're tired of this. We're tired of that. We want fun. We want excitement. We want something to happen. That's where we are here in 2019 and beyond, and taking the leap of faith, if you would, to purchase a property like this. Because as Jack said, we want to be in control. We want to be the ones that look up and say, here's what we'd like to have happen, instead of someone just coming and saying, we're going to set up this shop now, and maybe it'll be here a year or two, and then we're going to shut down and move somewhere else. That's not what it's about. So many different ideas, so many great things, but it had to start with, as I said, taking a leap of faith and grabbing that property, and that's what we did. It's being proactive, it's trying to make a difference and create some excitement up on that pike, and that's a great, like I said, a great first step, I think, of many, many great things to come when we start working with these developers and move on from there.
And of course, we're blessed because we have a terrific fiscal officer who leads us the way through a lot of financing issues and questions. So thank you, Jim Luby, for all that you've done on this.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of number crunching to come.
Well, sure there is.
Yes.
I
Mr.
would add,
Cameron?
I didn't add this part, but I think it's an important component. One thing I've seen you do is hold back some funds in your TIF account so that you could take advantage of something like this. I mean, that was intentional. You've kept a floor of $2 million in your TIF account. And that TIF account is a capital account. It cannot be used for things other than capital purchases. And so a property acquisition is absolutely one thing you can use. So I think folks need to realize you've held money back in your capital fund.
We are the West Side.
Well, it was under the mattress. I'm
We
sure of that.
save until we have the cash to
Pay
buy.
cash.
Right,
One-
Mr. Luby?
Absolutely.
One last point too, and because I've heard some of the comments out in the community, when we talk about type of housing and things like that, breathe, people, easy. Okay, we're not stupid. Okay, the community's not. This is going to be nice. Any type of residential living up there is really, I think, if we get to that point, and there's no definite at all because it's still ideas being put together, it will look nice, it'll be nice, I can guarantee you that. So we're not just looking to throw something up there and say, okay, who wants to rent? No. So trust us on this one. We are right where you are, and we will protect the beauty of this township.
Mr. Davis, I wasn't going to go there unless somebody went there.
We're here.
These are snippets from the Plan the Pike document, because I was going through that. And this is for those who want to envision the type of multifamily. Multifamily is what the zoning is called. Rental product, whatever you want to call it, but there's a demand that was identified in that study. There was a demand identified for a rental product. And interestingly to me, but maybe not others, it was a 55 and older need that was identified. That's not a senior living option. It's just people 55 and older. But it's a multi-store building with retail on the first floor is what is in our mind. It's not just a giant apartment complex or a bunch of apartments, but it's something that weaves into the fabric of the neighborhood, creates a walkability thing. Now, these are what we have in mind, and it's a private developer that's going to do that part of it. So that's what we have to go and pull in and see how much they will and want to do. But that's another step, and that's a few months down the road before we have a better handle on that.
Plus, after the Plan to Pike, we did a housing study. And what came out of it?
Well, it said
An
a
actual
similar.
housing
It said a
study.
very similar thing, and I was surprised because I wasn't here for Plan the Pike, so I kind of breezed through it and went back and grounded myself in it, and it said darn near the same stuff.
So there's been a lot of studying, a lot of investigating, a lot of activity that maybe we haven't been able to share with all of our residents, but we're willing to share it now. You're about to, in 60 days, own the #1 catalytic property on the Delhi Pike Plan the Pike. Congratulations. Okay, can we go back to the adjournment now?
Motion to adjourn, please.
Second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning?
Yes.
Yes. This meeting is adjourned. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, June the 12th at 6 p.m., and we hope to see many of you then. Thank you.